Welcome to the first episode of the Cripple Talk podcast. First, I want to say thank you guys for joining. Whoever's listening means a lot. I'm really excited to get this one going. It's been a long time. Been planning on doing this for a long time. I really enjoy doing this stuff, talking about what we'll be discussing, and when people start asking questions, can't wait to dive into them. Get to share some fun stories with you guys, and just listen to old cripple guy talk some crap. That's what we're here for, and maybe just some fun, interesting things too. We'll find on the way. First episode, been waiting to do it for a long time now. It's taken a little bit longer than I would have probably wanted, but hey, we're here, we're doing the deal, and hopefully we'll have a long, fruitful road ahead with this podcast. I hope I make a lot of people smile, maybe crack a laugh, giggle a little bit. You guys, maybe get to learn a thing or two. So, this is the Cripple Talk podcast, first episode. Today, I want to be sharing you a little bit about me. We're going to talk about my accident. Yep, that's right. I'm in a wheelchair. It's why it's called Cripple Talk, if you haven't figured that out yet. I mean, I guess understand the only thing you can see in my chair is my handle and the backrest. And maybe my hands look a little funny to you. Well, there you go. That's why I'm a quadriplegic. We'll dive into that. But first, I want to talk about what the plans are for this show. I plan on having a bunch of people that have had spinal cord injuries, learning about, life about having an injury or just any kind of spinal cord injury, maybe any, disability. But I don't really want to focus a lot on that because although that is my life and I will be learning a lot about it because it's the new way of life for me and my family and all that stuff. Just a bunch of other stuff. I'm into like all kinds of crap. I mean, football season's about to come up. So, your boy going to be busy on Saturdays. And then, baseball, love baseball. That's what I grew up doing. And then just cowboying. I mean, I've always wanted to be one since I can remember. And I just love that lifestyle and rodeo. And then also just hanging out with the boys. I'm going to have a lot of my buddies come on. We're going to hang out. And I'm just going to show you what we do down here in Florida. In my parts of Florida. What we do on regular nights, regular days when we're together. Tell you guys stories. Which our parents probably aren't going to want to hear. So if you're related to us, viewer discretion is advised. Because we did some stuff. And I mean, we still do stuff. The people that know me, they know that if you give me something to borrow, it might not show up in its original parts. Let's just say that. I'm not going to give it back to you all trash, but the original parts that were on it originally, yeah, I don't know if I can help you with that, buddy. And then I also want to start talking about I'm going to have some people that I just truly admire and their business adventures and the way they've made their success around here. I'm not talking about millionaires. I mean, hopefully, we can get, we'll grow eventually. But what I'm most excited about is hearing people's curiosity. I love that. I love sharing things. I'm an open book about everything. I have nothing to hide. When people ask me about, so how do you do this on a day-to-day living? Well, simple. I just tell them I don't really get too upset, not really emotional when it comes to this. Oh, by the way, my year of my injury was on Saturday, August 16th. Today is the 20th. Holy, it's the 20th, Wednesday. So a few days ago, I did shoot an episode. I did shoot the first episode on Friday, so the 15th, and we forgot. It wasn't me actually, but she told me to call her my manager. I don't know what she's managing, but forgot to plug in the cord to the phone for me to shoot the video, so it did not catch a single bit of audio. But it's all right. It's all right. We'll get in. It's, it's practice, I guess. That's what she kept telling me, is practice. And so that's right. I'm shooting it off my iPhone. So I hope it turns out pretty good. I hope everyone enjoys watching. Just stick with it. Everything's gonna grow. Just gotta start from somewhere. So I mean, I'm very grateful for the equipment I have. I mean, I don't know a lot of starting out people who just started out with this stuff. So, hopefully we can make it as enjoyable as we can for everyone who's listening and watching. I'm going to post all this stuff. I'm going to try and get everything on, Spotify, Apple Music, especially YouTube, all that stuff. Anyway, all right. So let's get into it. Enough of whatever that was. I don't know. Lame. Skip through it. I don't care. But we'll start off with me. What would happen? What led to all this? So, I mean, if we're being honest, the podcast has been a thing of me wanting to do, a dream of mine for, let's say, for way before the accident. I'd say like 2-3 years before the accident, when they started popping off. I know they've been around for a while. Yeah, I could be that one guy who's hopping on the podcast trend, whatever. I don't care. I don't care if nobody listens to this, but I'm having fun. Okay, that's what we're doing. We're having fun. We're gonna have a good time. So I'm huge. Just love podcasts. I've always thought that, maybe I can make someone laugh, because I just laughing to me it's one of the best medicines in the world. I also think it's a great opportunity to meet like some crazy people that you would just never normally have interacted with. It's a great outlet for that. And I love them because they've taught me a lot. I mean, I don't know if what I'm listening to is feeding me crap, but that crap sounds interesting. So, yeah. So me being able to do this podcast, and the injury is kind of what opened that door. So before, I'm doing the normal deal. I'm going to college. I'm working full time. I mean, the job I had was kind of laid back. I could have done it, but I just felt like when I had this accident, it kind of opened up that door of like, okay, you're going to be sitting at home for a while, not doing shit. You're not going to, I'm not going into work. I can't drive yet. We're getting there. Actually just had the guy from the University of South Florida. He is, I don't know what you'd call him. He is a rehab engineer or something like that. His job is to make sure that I get the driving assessment. They're going to he came in the house. The one that's most important to me is driving. Okay. Tired of being stuck at this house. Tired of having to ask somebody to go take me somewhere. Just ready to get out, get on my own. Now, my dream is for me to have an F350, F450 dually with a flatbed and then a ranch hand brush guard on the front. Okay. With, that's what I want. That's what I'm trying to have. Gotta go Got to go work some cows, and just flatbeds are the best. You can't tell me wrong. I mean, no, like nothing gets better than a flatbed. Okay. Yeah. If you're worried about stuff flying out, strap it down. Simple. I've never once, out of all the time, every flatbed that I've owned, I've never had anything fly off. So it's just like, whatever. I mean, yeah, you can't get a bed cover, but if you need all that, you ain't, I mean, you're obviously not in the business or the occupation of being an outdoors person, working outdoors, because having a bed cover, I mean, what do you do at outdoors? Like what kind of job occupation is giving you enough time to undo the tailgate, flip the bed cover, and then grab your stuff? I mean, come on, we're in a hurry here. You know, we got work to do. Let's get it done. That's what I'm talking about. Anyway, so he comes, we're talking about driving assessment. Doesn't sound like I'm going to be able to get a truck. So I'm really bummed about that. I mean, come on, let's get together. Let's help homeboy be able to get a truck. He was saying that the people who get trucks tend to return them because I guess they have a lot of problems. That probably wouldn't happen with me, but you know, whatever. It's first time doing this. Never been crippled before, so we're figuring it out as we go. And then he also, you know, does like he comes in the house and tries to figure out what kind of construction they can do within your house to make it as accessible and make it where I can be as independent as I can, which when I say independent, I mean me being able to roll up under the sink in my chair and grab my toothbrush, brush my teeth, shave my face, all that stuff. And also being able to roll into the shower because obviously I have to be in another chair for that, which would, you know, that's my shower chair. Might upload a picture of my shower chair. I don't know. If not, you can look them up. But anyway, so it's just got like a rubber seat. It's made for the shower, made to get wet, right? So he figures out how I can get in the shower on my own with the chair, make sure there's enough room for the chair and me in the shower. So they just kind of do construction like that. And I think they would, if I needed it, like build a ramp outside to get me in the house, stuff like that. Make it where the daily living task, such as getting yourself ready in the morning, as easy and independent as you can, because you want to be able to do it just like you used to, or, you know, anyone that still has their two legs walking around, you know, get out of bed, get in the chair, do what you got to do. Like that's what their job is to do. Now it's going to take, I don't know, it'd probably take forever for them to do it. And it just, whenever I'm dealing with stuff like that, it makes me a little nervous. Not going to lie. Makes me nervous in the fact that, you know, I don't, with these big things, because, you know, they're big changes. I want them to be right the first time. And we don't plan on staying in this house for like till we die. So it's just like, I don't want to ruin the house, you know? I mean, obviously I would hope that they wouldn't do that, you know, and if my brother decides that he wants to live here for the rest of his life, he could obviously remodel it to however he wants. Up to him. So, yeah. So I dealt with him today. I'm nervous about the driving thing because I'm not driving a minivan. Your boy don't look good in a minivan. Are you kidding me? No. Me driving a minivan, that ain't happening. Okay. Now, would we have it pimped out? Yeah, I would. But it's not really my style. So hopefully we can avoid that. I gotta be able to have something to pull a trailer. Okay. Yeah, you're gonna see me riding down the road with a cow trailer. I tell you that right now. No, I'm out off the Adderall. Okay. So stick with me. It's a wild ride. Keep all hands and feet inside the ride at all times. So the injury. Let's just talk about that. Yeah, it was a year ago on Saturday. So a year ago, August 16th, 2024. Don't know the time. I was too busy having fun. So we start the day out just a normal day. I mean, no one plans on having an injury, and if you do, I guess hope you do it right. I don't know. Anyway, so start out. I don't remember what we're doing like during the day, but before like that night, we went to the Umatilla. I think it was like it was their first game. So my cousins, both of them were still playing. None of them play for the football team now. Sissies. And yeah, they know they are. And so we were there. It was the same crowd that it always is. It was, my dad, half of the Umatilla dads, or any father of Umatilla hanging out in the VIP spot, because yeah, we like that. We royalty. And so we were hanging out there. And I looked at like Logan and his girlfriend and our buddy Jace. I'm like, so what are we doing tonight? Where are we going? Getting bored of watching this football game. And I look at him like, what are we doing? Where are we going? They were house sitting. My second grade teacher's house. She's got a pool. And so we're like, cool. She's cool with us going over there. Yeah, we'll go hang out. We'll swim for a little bit. So we head there, and, we're just hanging out, having fun, just having a great time. Jumping in the pool. Well, it was just me and Jace. We were just jumping in the pool, whatever. And I was just like freaking excited. Like, I'm just getting after it, having a grand old time, right? And then I do the silly salmon. If you don't know what that is, it's where you dive, but like you have your hands at your hips and you're like kind of like sideways, right? Whatever. It looks silly. I mean, hence the word or name, silly salmon. So I dive into it, and then for some reason, like, yeah, I knew I was in the shallow end, knew what I was doing, like wasn't non-coherent at all or whatever. And so I dive into it, didn't put my hands out, smacked the head right on top, and knocks me out for a second. And then I remember, like, it felt like I had like floated up with like my face up, which I guess it was actually my buddy JC had already grabbed me. And so eyes closed the whole time. I mean, the whole night. I don't think I opened my eyes. I opened them once that night, but I don't want to get too far ahead. My legs and I think my arms, they were all like, felt like they were like this, like tucked in to me. And I was just like, I can't feel. I just said that. I was like, I remember saying that, like, I can't feel my legs. Can't feel them. I started to freak out a little bit. So Jason, Logan, they put me on the steps of the pool. Well, I remember, like, so I was laying. They had were holding me almost like a baby, right? And I just was like freaked out. I was like, get me out of the water, because it was just like, it was too close for comfort to like where my face was. I wasn't underwater. They weren't holding me underwater or anything. They took good care of your boy. And so they were holding me, and it started getting hard to breathe. So I was like, oh shoot. And I guess I was like, all my thoughts that were in my head were coming out of my mouth. I didn't realize that. So of course, they're hearing everything that I'm thinking, and me thinking that it's all in my head. So I was like, oh, I didn't freak out. Like, what are you talking about, guys? Like, I was pretty calm the whole time. And they were like, no, no, you weren't. So now I'm like, oh, shoot, I get it now. And so they get me out of the pool and they lay me on the deck. And when I was laying on the deck, I was like, my neck's hurting really bad, or my head was hurting because it was like, pavers or whatever. So I was like, can you put something on my head? So they put something under my head. And like I told them, I was like, they're like, do you want us to call 911? I was like, yeah, 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 give them a call. So they call them and they're like, okay, they'll be here. And in between this, I heard Parker. She like murderously screamed. And I was like, oh, that's when it clicked in. It was like, okay, I need to be calm. Like, I need to calm down because I don't want her freaking out. I mean, obviously, that was impossible to keep from happening. But, uh, I did the best I could. And so the EMTs or the fire department show up. They're asking me all this stuff, making sure I don't have a concussion and all that. And I didn't. So they were asking me, and I was like, I still remember the number they asked me to remember. It was 44. Don't know if it has any significance to anything or what, but so they asked me that, and I'm talking to them, da da da. They get me in the ambulance, and I'm like, oh gosh, this is gonna be because I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know how far I was gonna go and where I was gonna go. I was like, gosh, this is gonna suck. Because I always thought ambulance rides were like not comfortable, super bumpy, like all that stuff. Because that's all I'd heard of. At this point, the only time I ever was in an emergency room or had to get rushed somewhere was because I cut my leg. Like, right behind your leg or under your knee, I cut under there by a rusty screw from a bike because we took the training wheels off of it because I didn't need them. I was going down a retention pond at my aunt's house, and I slid back, and that screw had caught my leg somehow and ripped the skin, and so I had to go get stitches. And I mean, it was like a few centimeters away from that vein, one of the veins that runs from, the under your leg. So I'm glad I didn't hit that. But that was the only time I'd ever. It's just stitches. The only time I've ever never broke a bone, nothing. Because I drank my milk, real milk, straight from the teat. Okay, not no 1%. Anyone who drinks other than the red cap, you're doing yourself a disservice. I'm telling you. Even the real cow milk. I mean, where it's got two layers. One layer of just sweet fat, and then the milk. Like that milk right there. Yeah. You ain't breaking nothing if you're drinking that milk. Like I said, never really been hurt or anything other than the stitches. And it's not because I have baby around. No, I don't know how I haven't broken a bone or anything like that. Because I've done a lot more wild stuff than a lot of people that I know who have broken bones. So I guess that's just fortunate. I'm like, okay, this is going to suck. Well, I ended up riding in the ambulance for not even like 5 minutes. And then they decide to airlift me. So I was like, okay, cool. This is going to be a nice, comfortable ride in the helicopter. It was not. That helicopter ride is not fun. I mean, I wasn't in like pain, but every time we hit a bump or something, like it was just like this oof feeling. Going back, I remember being in the ambulance when it was right before they were transferring me out of the ambulance, and right before I was gonna go in the helicopter. And I remember, Parker and my dad showing up, and they're freaking out and asking them where they're going to take me, and they would not tell them. which, I mean, I know they're doing their job, but I mean, come on. They just care. So I don't even know how they figured out where they were taking me. Like, I have no idea. Well, uh, I remember them freaking out frantically in while I was in the ambulance, and I was just trying to tell them to calm down and all that stuff. Which they're not gonna listen to me. I wish I would have. That'd have been nice. But anyway, so I get on the helicopter. The helicopter ride's really bumpy. Felt like I was in it forever, and I was glad to get off of it. Had my eyes closed this whole entire time. Still have not opened my eyes. I mean, I'm awake. I'm wide awake, coherent. Wasn't falling in and out of sleep. Nothing like that. I'm wide awake. Just didn't want to open my eyes, I guess. Not in too much terrible pain. I don't know what it is, but when you break your neck, like there's not, for me, like it wasn't painful at all. It was just like if something kind of moved, it was just it was just uncomfortable, like a real uncomfortable feeling almost. So, I mean, that was nice. A lot of people when they break their bones or sprain something, like they're in a lot of pain, but I guess your spinal cord just is, it ain't like that. But it's because whenever you know, damn near sever your spinal cord, it shuts everything off. Like, I mean, everything gets turned off. It's basically like when a breaker goes out or a fuse goes out. It's like the best way to explain a spinal cord injury is like an electrical current, because that's what it is. Damn near. And so, when a breaker trips, it shuts everything off until once everything gets, put in the right place, the whatever tripped that breaker or fuse, once it gets fixed and everything turns on. Well, that's basically the same as your spinal cord. Is when, it gets cut or whatever, it shuts everything off. So, and it causes your spinal cord to swell. I wasn't in pain or anything. Now, mind you, I think from what I can remember is whenever it happened and before the surgery, I could still move my arms and my hands. Um, like normal. Now, I don't know if that was true because I didn't have my eyes open. And I also wasn't moving a whole lot because, I mean, I wasn't trying to grab anything or whatever. So that's a little fuzzy. I don't know if that's accurate to say. So anyway, I'm in the hospital, and I know the like it's weird because the lights were so bright, but I still have my eyes closed. Still didn't open them. I hear my dad's voice. He gets there first. He's in the room. He's upset, as any parent probably would be. And then my mom shows up. She's freaking out too. And the whole time I just kept asking for Parker. I was just like, where's she at? Where's she at? Where's she at? And then doctor comes in, Dr. Drew. I really have only good things to say about him. So he kind of tells them the situation, like, okay, this is what's going on. I remember him telling them that I would have a 5% chance of walking again. And when he said that, they just all hell broke loose for them. For me, I don't really know if I was paying attention to it too much, like what he meant. I don't know. I wasn't really focused on that, I guess. I was just kind of like, I don't know. It just happened for me, so I didn't really focus a lot on what they said. Um, And they told me I was going to go into surgery. And I remember they put me on the bed to go to have surgery. And they told me, or the anesthesiologist was like, okay, we're going to give you anesthesia. You'll be out, whatever. And just from movies, I was like, okay. So I asked her, I was like, so do I count down from 10? Because on movies, that's all you see. They're like, oh, count down from 10. Da, da, da. And she laughed. She's like, yeah, you can if you want. And, of course, not long after I got it knocked out. And so my surgery ended up being like 6 to 7 hours. So a long surgery. They had to put my head in a vice because they flip you over. And I'm pretty sure you lay on your stomach because they have to open up your entire back. Not entire back, but, they've got to go pretty far, whatever. So they put my head in the vice and they screw your head in. So if you don't know what a vice is, it's basically it's a tool that you put something in and you crank it down, okay? And the vice holds whatever object you're about to work on. It holds it down so you can use both hands to work with whatever you need to work with. Well, so when they told me that, I was like, holy cow. Imagine that. Your head is screwed into a vice. Okay. Rods are going inside your head through your skull. And they screw it down 70 pounds. That's a lot. So I was like, damn, that's crazy. So anyway, I go through the surgery. I don't really wake up like knowing what's going on until like 2 days after the surgery because they've got you so doped up and all that stuff. And I was so worried about getting hooked on drugs because one of my biggest fears is getting hooked on pills. The reason why is because they're like the silent killers. You don't know until it's too late. You don't realize that you're hooked on them until it's done and over with. And sometimes you don't even know which ones are doing it. Like, especially if you're taking a lot. Whenever I was taking Adderall before the accident, like that was one of my biggest fears. Getting hooked on them. I mean, so I was very sure I watched, what I took, when I took and stuff like that. So I was worried about that, but of course, like, you're fine. Like, you're not, that's not going to happen here. And I was pretty doped up for a long time. I was in the ICU from August 16th to September 12th. So a few days before a month of being in the ICU. The ICU is quite a long journey. I mean, it doesn't feel like it now, but looking back, it was long. I mean, I was hooked up to a ventilator, then they trached me, and then I got pneumonia once, but thank goodness it was only once and it wasn't that bad. And then I had an NG tube and then like a gas tube, feeding tube or whatever. They make it to where you get out of bed and you sit in a chair. And they want you to sit in the chair because they want your blood pressure to start, coming back to normal. Because when you lay in the bed so long, your body, especially after spinal cord injury, it's almost like your body gets so used to laying down. So whenever you sit up, your blood pressure will tank, and it causes you to get super dizzy, may pass out, whatever. So anyway, so I'm sitting in the chair, and they go to transfer me back into the bed, and back then those transfers were really hard. I mean, super painful a lot of times. So I would they went to transfer me, and at this time I had the trach in, so I couldn't talk. And they're transferring me. Well, one of the tubes rips out of my nose. Living, I was pissed because the whole time that they're about to do it, I can feel it like getting tight, and they end up ripping it out. It wasn't painful. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, but it wasn't painful. I mean, so they transfer me, rips it out, and I'm like, y'all better not put it back in, because that's what sucked. When they had to put it in, I already have a bad gag reflex, so they take it out, and I'm like, y'all aren't putting it back in. And I'm like, well, we're gonna have to see, make sure. I'm like, no, you ain't. You ain't putting it back in. So luckily, I was able to start eating on my own. I had to do this chop diet, which, wasn't fun. But anyway, so I'm thankfully was able to eat on my own and all that stuff and whatever. But yeah, that's just one of those core memories I have of being in the ICU was my feeding tube getting ripped out of my nose. That was not fun. But hey, it made it to where I could start eating on my own. So, you gotta it's just steps. And that, a lot of the spinal cord injury, like, that's what it is. It's just steps. Every day. I mean, from the time it happens, and then probably from the time that I will die, every day would just be a step. Yeah, I'll have the times, and everyone has it, where they kind of plateau. They hang out they sit in like this strength level, or, the what you can and can't do as for like transfers. And I just remember like that was one of those steps that led me to be able to get ahead. Like getting off the vent and having the speaking valve and all that stuff. Like that was, it's just steps like that. And then there, you have your steps of being able to eat again, using a fork, all that stuff. There's just a lot of steps. And that's why, like, I know I might be going off, but it's fine. Why I'm excited for the next episode. The next episode, I'm going to do like a questionnaire, and I want to see all these questions that people have. I don't want people to be scared. And so if you're listening to this or watching it, whatever, I'm going to probably do a poll on Instagram, maybe Facebook too, because I want to see all the questions. And so don't be scared to ask. Like, any kind of question. Now, don't be asking how I pole dance, because I retired from that a few years ago. There just wasn't as much money in it as I thought it'd be, So I don't pole dance anymore. So let's not talk about that. But anything else other than that is fine. I just love seeing what people think about when it comes to this stuff. Because I remember before the accident, and even when the accident happened, like when they told me you're a quadriplegic, I'm like, no, I'm not. Because I used to think that only quads, all you had was your neck or like your head. Your arms didn't work, all that stuff. And then for a paraplegic, I thought that all they couldn't feel or move was just their legs, which is, for paras, is kind of the point, except that they can like not feel from up here and still have all their strength in their arms, and I think diaphragm. I'm not sure. I'm not a para, so I don't really know. And hopefully we can get some paras on the show for you guys, and we can, I can ask them stuff like that and whatnot. But so when they told me that, I was kind of like, no way. And also just had no idea what any of that is, because, no one, why would you look into it or why would you think about it if it has nothing to do with a day, part of your life? And oh, don't even get me started on people who park in handicap spots that are not handicapped. We'll get into that. But man, that junk right there will piss you off. Or it does for me at least. And I know other people in chairs, it definitely does too. But we can say that for the next one. You know what? Matter of fact, no. We'll talk about it right now. So this makes you so damn mad. I will we'll go somewhere, right? And so where the van that I have, we have a ramp. Okay. So the ramp comes out and I get off the ramp. Well, it's hard to do that when a car it doesn't have that, okay? Or a spot that doesn't give you enough room for the ramp to come out and someone else is parked there. Like, and then you watch them get out. They open the door. They step their two freaking legs out. And then they walk into where they're going. I can't do that. I don't have that luxury. And the last thing that you want to do is already everything with me takes time. Okay. And I've got to park 1,000 yards away to get out and go up there. And everyone that's parked in the handicap, especially where it says van accessible, when it says van accessible, usually on one side of that parking spot, there's this gap. It's got lines in it. You've probably seen it before. If not, you'll probably start noticing it now. For someone to get out on a ramp or to have enough room to where they, there's room in between that spot and then the other parking spot. Like that's kind of made for someone who needs that. So, yeah, that pisses me off. And I can describe it better, but right now my mind's not on that. So, anyway, where was I? Oh, so the ICU, like it was fun. The nurses were awesome. They threw a going away party for me. I thought that was pretty cool. They brought in all these like fake tattoos. I put a bunch of them on me. That was awesome. They made the experience a whole lot easier for not just me, but for the family. And I really think that the way you conduct yourself, I mean, I know it's hard to probably have a good mindset in something traumatic like that, but I think it helps the nurses a lot. It helps them want to help you whenever you give them that kind of attitude of like, okay, how can I help myself and help you make me better? Because that's what they're there, they're there for, to help you. If they were there to help them, I don't think there'd be a lot of them doing it. But it's actually they were really cool. So I really think anytime you see a nurse or have a nurse, you should really honestly give them a thanks. Thanks for dealing with me, wiping my ass, helping me go pee, because it's not pretty. I don't know if I'd want to do that for myself. So for them wanting to do it for some random, I mean, shoot, they deserve a thank you. So yeah, they were really good. I think it's also if you can have, I mean, now not everyone has good nurses, and I understand that. I get that aspect of like, okay, because I did have one. She wasn't rude, but she thought shaving every inch of me was a good idea. And I was just like, yeah, sorry, but we're not doing that. So if you could just never come back to my room, that'd be nice. And so that's what happened, and all was good, all was fair. Uh, and you know, so from the ICU, I go to Shepherd's in Atlanta, and I was there from September 12th to November 20th, so a while. Uh, that's whenever like my mental started kicking in of like, the ups and downs of like how, just the anger. I don't know if I'd say anger. Uh, I mean, I still get angry sometimes, but now it's different. When I get angry now, it's because something fell on the ground, I can't grab it, or I need someone to help me with something, and it's just a lot different than what it was before. Whenever I was angry before, it was probably because I didn't I couldn't see myself getting stronger because I'm the one doing it. So a lot of times that's really hard to see, especially if you're the one doing it. If you're the one doing it, it's hard to see the progress sometimes. I really think I didn't allow myself to dive down that rabbit hole because I knew if I did, it was not going to do me any benefit at all, and the people around me. It wasn't going to help them. So I think a lot of people, and this just goes with life, like if you you have to make sure you have a as positive as you can outlook on stuff, because especially whenever you're injured, if you're down in the dumps all the time, your brain is not going to let your body heal and progress, which is what you need. I mean, not even just with a spinal cord injury, but shit, you break your pinky toe and you're crying about it, like it's not going to fix anything. So the mental always leads to the physical aspect of healing. So I just always tried to make sure I had a great mindset. I just made a lot of jokes. Like I remember whenever I was at Atlanta and I would go take a shower, they'd put me in the shower chair. And it didn't even have to be in the shower chair, just any chair. Someone was pushing me and like my feet might have touched the door or something, I'd scream. And we'd go, ow. They'd freak out. They'd be like, what? I'd just start laughing. And I'd be like, I can't feel them. I'm just joking with you. So it's just like you got to joke about it. And when you joke about it, it helps other people too around you. It's just, if you can have that outlook a lot on life, then it's going to help, everyone around you and you. So that's just my take. And it's just like, for spinal cord injury, like you're recovering every day. So it's a constant battle of mental. So being able to lean on whatever you can lean on is super important. I'm getting gray hair, okay, in the mustache. It was found on me late the other day. I don't care. I mean, I'm only 23, but if I start getting some gray now, shit, that's fine. A little salt and pepper, a little flavor. That's all that's adding. No, does Parker hate it? Yeah, she hates it, but that's all right. But I started college again. This time I was going to work for substations. If you don't know what that is, it's the big, not big, and they're not power grids, but they any of those chain linked fences where you see a bunch of power lines, they lead to it. That's a substation. That's the dumbest, not dumbest, but easiest way to like describe it because, not a lot of people know. So I was going to school to work on those. Well, can't do that when you're spinal cord injury. Can't really roll up in the middle of a substation and start working on the transformers if you're in a wheelchair. I haven't found a wheelchair that the seat raises up high enough, and yet, nor if you don't have hands, it's kind of hard to fix stuff. I mean, many people have figured it out, but I've not gotten there. So anyway, now I am trying to get a business degree, trying to make a business, trying to make a living, trying to earn $1. You boy need money. Send me in Cash App. Zell me. Venmo me. Anyway. So that's pretty exciting. A little nerve-wracking. Just started Monday, so 2 days ago. We'll see how it goes. I'll keep y'all posted. Might drop out. I didn't drop out of high school. Now, was I tempted to? Yeah, I think everyone is. But, hey, gotta stick with it. So we'll see how it's going. Planning on working for, I don't know who I'm going to work for. Somebody. Y'all hiring? Let me know. Your boy needs some dollars. Yep. But hopefully I can get a job soon. But you guys have probably been wondering why my fingers wrapped like that. Well, let me tell you why. So the other morning, it's a few days ago. So I'm cooking breakfast. And I'm just cooking, making bacon, Spam. Love it. Cooking it. Everything's fine. Food turned out awesome. I mean, especially since I haven't cooked in a really long time. Because, you got to get stronger, all this stuff. And I just didn't. Also, the way our house is, it's kind of hard. So the power chair helps a lot. So I was cooking breakfast. And this was in the morning, around 3 o'clock. We just went somewhere. We get back to the house and I'm pushing the chair. And I look down at my hand. I'm like, oh, crap. I burnt my hand. So, yeah, that's what's going on. It's healing pretty good, but I just burnt my hand. Nothing crazy. I mean, it's pretty bad. It's a little rough, but I couldn't feel it. So, that's why I didn't notice until like 3 o'clock that day. But, yeah, so that's what's going on here. It's healing pretty good. I actually need to take this bandage off. But, so yeah, I burnt my food. No, didn't burn the food. That's most important. Didn't burn the food. Turned out great. Everyone loved it. Or at least they told me did. They might have been lying. Doesn't matter. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Probably won't be the last time. But this was the first. So I burnt my hand. Yeah, I think now is just a good time to talk about what's going on, what next episode will be. Next episode, hopefully I do get a lot of questions from everybody. And I can, kind of go further into a lot of the stuff, just find y'all's curiosity. That's what I want to do. I love it when people are curious. I plan on having some more people on. Like I said earlier, next episode, I think I'm going to have maybe Parker on. She wants to come on. We'll see. And then I want to have some other people that have had injuries. Guys should check out the Cole and Charisma on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, I think all that stuff. They even have a YouTube channel. Cole is also a quad, very similar to me. He's had his injury for a lot longer, though. They do some really cool stuff, post really cool videos. You guys could check them out and hopefully reach out to them. Help me if you want. Get them on the pod and we can, talk about it and see what they do and kind of how they live their life and hear about his story. And then there's another guy named Nevin, him and his now wife. Pretty sure they're married now. They do the same thing. They post TikTok video. I don't know if they do YouTube, but anyway, check them out. Gonna have some of my therapists on. Figured it might be cool to hear, how they how they learn and what they, go through, and how I always wondered how they come up with like their plans. Like when you go in that day and you're kind of like, they're like, well, what are we going to do today? Stuff like that. Some cases maybe that they've seen, like some stories that they've seen or whatnot. Hopefully have my buddy Chase Johnson on, Johnson with the Big Johnson. He was my neighbor at Shepherd's. He's a quad too, but I mean, honestly, if you ask me, he acts more like a para than a quad. So he's really kicking butt. Yeah. So you guys be on the lookout for questionnaire or me posting about everyone to be able to ask questions. Y'all be on the lookout for that. Check my TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff out. Kind of, we're gonna try and post videos of like, me daily living, all that stuff. Maybe some snippets of the pod, a little teaser here and there. But I mean, I'm super excited. Super excited to see where this goes. See what we could do. See what we can learn about. Maybe entertain folk or two. So I appreciate everyone watching. You guys, my Instagram is just you can look up Roland. You'd think I'd know what my freaking Instagram is, but stay on the lookout. I'll keep updating on my Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff of all the episodes. Check it out on YouTube too. Definitely give it a watch so you guys can kind of see, what I'm working with here. But yeah, I really appreciate, even if it's just one listener, I really appreciate it, and I'm super excited. So everyone just keep overdapting and undercoming, baby. Peace.